Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today for Wednesday morning. It's August 17th, 2022. The man they call Meathead. The lovely Wait a minute.
Yeah.
The lovely
Matthew
morning.
Thomas, that's right.
This is Wednesday morning. It's Matthew Thomas. I went into my Linda introduction there, and instead, it's the 2022-2023 second place finisher in the PWR Fantasy Draft. It's Matthew Thomas.
Yeah, the lovely Matthew Thomas works as well. Thank you for that wonderful, warm introduction, Meathead.
Yep. Hey, jumping in for Linda on this beautiful, not brisk, but, not as warm Wednesday morning here in the greater state of Wisconsin, in Appleton, Wisconsin. Linda being from Milwaukee. You in Denver. Matthew, I got to ask you real quick before we get into sponsors and the wrestling news and so forth. Over the weekend on Saturday night on Comedy Central was the South Park 25th anniversary concert live from Red Rocks. Holy balls, Matthew. I know we've talked about me coming out there to check out the Brewers. Fuck that. I'm coming to Red Rocks. That place looks amazing.
As well you should. That is an absolute magnificent place. I highly recommend everybody at least once in their life check it out. There's no finer place.
I mean, we've got Alpine Valley, right? It's the outdoor amphitheater type place. Alpine Valley has been hosting many things. Matter of fact, a little known fact here, Alpine Valley is the last concert place ever played by Stevie Ray Vaughan. He had his helicopter crash leaving the building coming out of Alpine Valley. But Matthew, did you get to see the concert, the South Park 25th anniversary?
I did not. I knew it was happening. I did not know it was broadcast, though. That's amazing.
Well, that's the thing I wanted to ask you because it wasn't live. So I was wondering, when did that concert happen?
I mean, it hasn't been long. I mean, it's been within the last several weeks, I believe. But yeah, Red Rocks, man, an absolutely fantastic venue. I've had the privilege of going out there a number of times, and I'm probably 25-30 minutes away from Red Rock. Wow. So very
so they probably mentioned your hometown at the end of in the encore song, where they kept mentioning because they did America, fuck yeah, from the World Police, and they kept mentioning every little neighborhood around where they were playing. So they probably mentioned your hometown as well.
Oh, that's outstanding. I'm gonna have to check that out.
When you went to Red Rocks, did they blast a bunch of stuff projection wise up on the rocks?
No. I mean, most of the shows that I've been there to have been pretty straightforward. Not a lot of, effect or anything like that. So I haven't.
So you didn't have Geddy Lee from Rush show up during the concert like it did on?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, you can't spoil it for me though.
It wasn't that big of a surprise. So the show is amazing. Folks, check it out if you can. The 25th anniversary show. I mean, what kind of concert are you going to, see that starts off with "Shut your fucking face, Uncle Fucker"?
I mean, that's what you, I don't know how you don't open with that.
All right. We also want to open with our sponsor today, this morning. Who's the sponsor, Matthew?
Oh, that's a Collar and Elbow brand. I'm trying to think if I've ever actually worn Collar and Elbow brand to Red Rocks. It's very possible. I may have worn it there, but you don't have to wait in a merch line. You can head on over to www.collarandelbowbrand.com. Enter promo code Linda K LINDAKAY. Save yourself 10%, so you can wear it to Red Rocks or Colorado or Milwaukee or
Milwaukee,
wherever you find yourself.
It's Algonquin for the good land.
And that's I guess the cat's out of the bag because it's been made official. I'm planning on being there the end of October for the recently officially announced. Now, it had a title, but it didn't necessarily explain everything that was in the title. The GLCW event, I believe, happening October 23rd.
I think it's a co-show. I think it's GLCW, and if I'm not mistaken, Big Time Wrestling will be bringing a gentleman in for that program.
Absolutely. And I believe the name of the show is The Best There Is, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Now, the question is Mom bringing stuffing, or, is she bringing like a lasagna? Maybe an eggplant lasagna?
Oh, I could probably get the stuffing. I don't know. Lasagna is not necessarily her thing, but we can make the stuffing work. and maybe some various casseroles.
What's your mom's? Do you mind putting your mom's first name out there? You don't have to give her a last. We already know.
No, yeah, I don't have to give her a last. I guess I could say hello to listener Wanda.
Wanda, this is the man they call Meathead. I'd like to go inside your ear right now. Wanda, I know that you're going to be hopefully making your way to Milwaukee, again, Algonquin for the good land. Wanda, while you're bringing young Matthew a nice dish of stuffing, I would ask that maybe you find a way to make one of those maybe eggplant lasagnas. Or I'm also a big fan of the sausage lasagna, just not a lot of fennel, please. But Wanda, lasagna. I've left now.
All right, I'm all right. I'm not as uncomfortable as I thought I was going to be there. So I thank you for that.
Well, it is your mother, so I stopped.
We'll see what we can do.
All right, so let's talk a little bit of news here. First off, let's talk about tonight's Dynamite. Somebody else is going to be making an appearance on tonight's Dynamite, and it's not the surprise you thought was going to happen. This one is officially announced. The Dynamite tonight is brought to you by HBO's House of the Dragon. And a dragon is showing up. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat will be the special timekeeper all night long on Dynamite tonight.
Which, interestingly enough, that is a perfect segue because Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is actually Wanda's favorite wrestler.
Oh, hey now.
Yeah. So great job there. Great transition. And this is news to me. I did not realize that. So you know what? It's kind of a little bit hokey with what the title, what the theme is. But if it gets a Steamboat on TV, I'm all for it.
You know, and this coming from Tony Khan's official Twitter, he says for tonight's Dynamite presented by HBO's House of Dragons, they got the perfect special guest timekeeper for the event. So making its return to TBS Network. You know, AEW's really done a great job of reaching out to the past, saying, hey, this is the first time you've seen him on TBS or TNT in blank years, you know, when it was Sting. You know, the first time he's wrestled this match on TBS or TNT or whatever. So I like what they've done. Don't forget tonight's Dynamite is going to have 2 out of 3 falls. Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia. The Tony Storm and Kylan King match. The Ass Boys will be taking on the Varsity Blondes. And then the AEW World Trios Tournament has a match with Andrade El Idolo, Roosh, and Dragon Lee, his brother, against the Young Bucks and a mystery partner, Matthew. There is speculation that those guys are getting clean tonight.
Oh, by that you mean Ricky the Dragon Steamboat teams with them. Yes, that makes all kinds of sense.
There is talk that the return of the cleaner, Kenny Omega, is on his way back and will be teaming with the Young Bucks. Remember, they've been putting it in our ear, you know, kind of planting those seeds that they've been all alone. All their friends are gone. Well, there's a friend that should be returning tonight on Dynamite. Let's speak a little bit more about AEW before we get into NXT's Heatwave from last night. The next crossover with New Japan looks to be officially announced. Wrestle Kingdom, which is going to happen in January, is going to have a ton of AEW talent on it. Matthew, your thought on the forbidden door between New Japan and AEW still being wide open?
So Wrestle Kingdom, you know, it's a show that I know there is a lot of there's a lot of domestic fans that, you know, watch it. There's a lot of domestic fans that don't. There's a lot of fans that are kind of on the fence that know of it, but are not necessarily, you know, familiar with New Japan. And I mean, the AEW talent there, I mean, I think it could be a big thing for New Japan in the fact that could be the deciding factor for a lot of people that watch WWE, watch Impact, watch AEW, but haven't really pulled the trigger on New Japan. So I think it's going to benefit the New Japan promotion, probably more so than AEW, but I imagine that it will help them, garner some additional buys.
And, you know, it's always held at probably the most famous arena in Japan, the Tokyo Dome. So, again, that's a place kind of like guys wanting to wrestle at Madison Square Garden. That is what the Tokyo Dome is to wrestling in Japan and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Let's talk about last night's Heatwave. It sounds like Paulie Dangerously, otherwise known as Paul Heyman, feeling a little bit better as he did the voiceover for the opening package. Will we see Paul Heyman coming up at Clash at the Castle?
I hope so, but it was definitely a nice surprise, a nice way to open things, and it made it feel that much more important. And I think it set the stage. And my goodness, Meathead, this was the hottest I've ever seen that NXT crowd in this incarnation of NXT. I don't even know if it's NXT 2.0 anymore. My program guide does not call it that.
Correct. And to be completely honest, You say hot because you're making the pun on the heat wave. Do you know why it was Paul Heyman doing the voiceover on Heatwave?
Oh yeah, it's a throwback to ECW
It's an
pay-per-view.
ECW branded
Yep,
pay-per-view.
yep. It took me a second, but I also want to point this out too. When you get to the opening match, when you see the first two competitors that we got, Giovanni Vinci and Carmelo Hayes, their intros were in black and gold, and I don't know that that's the standard intro for them, but the first vision that we got when that show went on the air were intros in black and gold, so it had a little bit more original NXT feel from the start to me.
Okay, well, let's start it off. Let's talk about the match. It led off with Carmelo Hayes taking on Giovanni Vinci. Now, Vinci doing his standard smile spot. I think he has 3 smile spots where he, it's here, yeah, here, here, and Carmelo Hayes coming out with a Giovanni Vinci t-shirt and a flaming garbage can. I'm like, oh man, is this going to be a dumpster fire tonight? So let's, but you know what? He threw his t-shirt in there. Matthew, I got to ask. Go ahead.
Or was it a reference to the trash can that was on fire last night or on Monday night in Raw in the backstage?
It could be. It honestly could be. Let me ask you this though: you and Linda have been doing NXT recaps for a while now, and I haven't been on it. I've been watching, but I haven't been watching. If that makes sense. Who's the face and who's the heel in this match?
Very, very uncertain. It's a very, very gray area match. The only reason that, Vinci really hasn't done much heelish unless you just don't like somebody getting their picture taken. If you're one of those people who doesn't like getting their picture made, then you might think he's a heel. But no, they've really kind of softened both parties here in the fact that, they're not necessarily, these aren't baby faces by any means, but they're not dastardly heels that you've been given any motivation to dislike.
Okay. And that's kind of the thing. So I'm thinking as I'm going into the match, who am I going to root for? You know what? I know Carmelo Hayes a little bit more. Obviously, Vinci was, in Imperium, but I'm going to root for, I like Carmelo Hayes, and I like Trick Williams too. So the winner of the match and still NXT North American champion, Carmelo Hayes.
I think this was the right match to open the show, but also the wrong match. It got the crowd off to a hot start. I don't think anybody.
Wait, did you say hot because it was Heatwave?
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that I'm just making these unintentional puns. But I don't think anybody caught him after this. I think this was the match that stole the show right out of the gate.
Wow. Okay. What was your feeling on the long run time on this? Because I'm going to segue to the main event at the end here, but they were given time to work.
The thing of it is, with what we've seen each week from Giovanni Vinci since his repackaging, he really hasn't been given, a lengthy amount of time. Now, we saw him, I believe it was him and Apollo Crews a few weeks ago. That match got some time, but my goodness, he's normally it's normally a pretty quick match. So I think this was kind of that NXT crowd's reintroduction to him.
Yeah. The top singles champions meet in the parking lot because that's where, all your segments are brought to you by Range Rover. I never like that pull up right to the camera spot because then again, it's like branding. Like this segment brought to you by Range Rover. This segment brought to you by, Volkswagen Bug. They put that logo right in the front there. But Toxic Attraction jumps out of their car. Hey, there's Braun Baker. They think he's kind of beefy. He's kind of swole. He's kind of whatever the kids call a good-looking dude now. But we'll see who holds on to their belt. And then a video package from Von Wagner alongside Mr. Stone. It's not even Rob Stone or Robert Stone or Robbie E. It's Mr. Stone. Von Wagner says he will do what he wants when he wants, and he will blow through anybody that's in his way. Hey, Julius Creed found some video footage, and he filmed something for social media on his Twitter about how he's going to call out who's been kind of dogging the Diamond Mine. Well, then we get on the mic, we get everybody in the ring, the Diamond Mine, and they said they're going to call out who's been holding us down, and it's you, Roderick Strong. But as they're sitting there talking to each other, Gallus, apparently from NXT UK, which we should know who that is, but honestly, I don't watch NXT UK. They attack all of the Diamond Mine. Matthew, your thoughts on this whole segment?
This Diamond Mine breakup has been going on. It's been teased for a long, long time, and I kind of wish they would get to it already. And I thought they got to it last night, but it looks like the story is going to be told. Can they coexist and take on and Gallows? And I think that we had a lot of kind of crossovers last night from NXT UK, so we might be. You know what? There might be
they traveled together, so they came over. Yeah,
forbidden door open between the two NXTs, huh?
Yeah, it's like saying the forbidden door between Raw and SmackDown. As a matter of fact, it's like saying the forbidden door between Raw Hour 1 and Hour 2. Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, 1-on-1. They're going to finish this feud. Roxy in Ring of Honor, now Roxanne Perez in NXT. She loses to Cora Jade as Cora Jade hits her with the kendo stick at the end and gets the victory. Wait, no, she didn't hit her with it. I'm sorry. Roxy was supposed to hit her with the kendo stick, but then Cora Jade took advantage. Excuse me.
Yeah. No, it was Roxy couldn't quite do it, and Cora Jade, I believe, hit her finisher on the kendo stick. So she did not actually swing the kendo stick.
She didn't use it.
But her opponent fell on the kendo stick. No, I really think that Cora Jade is coming to her own since she has made
She's becoming a star.
Yeah, and it was something that I didn't necessarily see during her babyface run. And
because she looked like a baby.
Yeah, she seems to have really grown into this heel character. It seems very comfortable, and I think they've got something on their hands here.
Tony D'Angelo with only stacks, no dimes. And Santos Escobar with Legado del Fantasma in an all-or-nothing street fight. Now, if Santos Escobar loses the match, he must leave NXT. You know what that means, folks. Santos Escobar, Legado del Fantasma, with probably one of my favorite entrances in a long time. I thought that was unbelievably smoking hot, dude. The cool jacket, he's wearing the mask. He's got his boys and his girl there to walk him into the ring. Entrance of the night.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And it's interesting. We had a kind of a similar finish to the finish we had in the Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade match, and the fact that there were foreign objects being introduced. However, if some dude's got a crowbar and some dude's got a pair of brass knuckles, man, that crowbar is going to have a longer reach than the brass knucks, you see. And so, that's what we had ultimately happen at the end of the match. But I want to, I want to point out before we get, as I want to point out right now, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That crowd was so hot for the finish of that match, and
because they were burning in a heat wave.
I guess bidding Escobar adieu. That crowd pretty much overshadowed the vocals of the backstage segment that was happening in the next segment. You could still hear that crowd in the arena very, very loudly in the next segment. So what NXT did last night, the way this card flowed, I mean, it had that crowd. I'm not going to say anything in regards to heat or temperature. It had that crowd more lively than I've seen them in a long time.
Yeah, they looked good. Matter of fact, kudos to the NXT crowd. They didn't look like a 2.0 crowd. There was one sign in there that said "Thanks Triple H." And
let me ask you this: is the Jordan jersey guy the next sign guy?
Jordan jersey guy, the next sign guy? You mean like sign guy Dudley?
Yeah, you see. So if you watch NXT 2.0 weekly. There's a dude in the crowd. He alternates. It's a young looking guy. He alternates basketball jerseys, and his most famous one, as he was wearing last night, it's a Jordan jersey, but it's like a black and green or something. Like it's not a traditional Chicago Bulls color. He is front and center on almost every episode of NXT 2.0. So I mean, maybe he gets called up to the main roster soon.
So let me ask you, is this main roster to go sit next to the Carrie from Collar and Elbow?
Yes.
And you get called into the audience?
Yes, that's how that works.
Fair enough. All right. Tony D'Angelo wins, and Santos Escobar has to leave NXT? Is it Raw or SmackDown? Where's he going? Does Legado del Fantasma follow?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm gonna say Raw, because it seems like we've got a few more surprises pop up on SmackDown as of late. And Dexter Lumis is not officially on Raw. He's just a wild, out of control man in the crowd.
Well, you know what? Speaking of Dexter Lumis, Indy Hartwell backstage, and she gets a letter from a messenger, and it looks like Dexter's drawing on it. And what kind of marriage do they have where she didn't know where her husband was?
I don't know, but I think that he's crossing brands now. He's referenced on NXT, and that got a pretty big pop too from the audience.
That popped me pretty big, actually.
I think this dude, if this is done right, this guy could be a bigger star in WWE, I think, than anybody realized. Samuel
Shaw making waves. Hey, speaking of making debuts as well, Blair Davenport, formerly known as Bae Priestley, snatches the artwork away and rips it up. She says in her NXT 2.0 debut, she will be the next NXT Women's Champion. Have you heard of Blair Davenport?
I'm not familiar with her, no, until last night.
Let me ask you, did you scan the QR code?
I did.
Okay, tell us. Break it right here on PWR today on Wednesday morning.
Basically, it just told me how many Pepsi points I had.
Get out of here.
You remember, I had a fair collection of Pepsi points back in the day. No, this was actually a picture of Zoe Stark standing atop Mandy Rose holding the NXT Women's title. Now, I presume this was from a clip from several weeks ago.
Gotcha. It's funny you mentioned Pepsi points, because I actually have a Jenga set. I have some lawn furniture. I have some drink koozies. What else did I get from them? I used to collect tons of those points, and it was Mountain Dew points, actually.
My goodness. How many did you have to collect to get patio furniture?
I have patio furniture. I got a bunch of chairs. Now, this is just recently in the last 3-4 years, right? When you're talking about the Pepsi promo that they had maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I also did very well on that. I got movies, I've got CDs, I got all sorts of stuff.
I was referencing like inaugural Pepsi points, like mid 90s, where you had to.
That's the one I'm talking about now, where I got the movies. Yeah.
Interesting.
Mountain Dew, I actually won a jersey for the NCAA one. I won a North Carolina jersey the year that they beat. Was it the year they beat Michigan? I don't remember what year it was, but it was the year that they won the NCAA tournament, and I happened to pop it open at the buzzer. I was like, yeah. Oh, look at that. I won. You had to find Yoda. That's what it was. I found Yoda.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So I've won that. But speaking of the listeners here at PWR today, you're winning this NXT Women's Championship recap. Mandy Rose and Zoe Stark. The picture of Zoe Stark standing over Mandy Rose did not happen. Mandy Rose defeats Zoe and retains her title. Matthew, you have breaking news on something that happened during the match.
Oh, it's not anything. Well, it is literally breaking. I mean, anybody watching the match, there was multiple moments where Mandy had to take on several opponents. One, Zoe Stark, and one, Wardrobe, that just did not want to cooperate.
So Mandy's Rose was showing?
So I guess.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was her tulips, her rose. I mean, so you're saying that she had a wardrobe malfunction.
Well, that's pretty fairly obvious for the for the viewer at home.
I like the finish. Zoe Stark's brace. Mandy put it on and hit Zoe Stark with her brace.
Yeah.
Is Zoe Stark done in NXT?
I don't think so, man. She just
remember her and Nikita Lyons will be going to SmackDown to wrestle for the Women's Tag Team Championships.
That is true. It's hard for me to imagine that they're done just because the Zoe Stark, return felt so big, and I don't think that. I think they're just kind of on the tip of the iceberg. I think the return
was made big for this,
quote
unquote pay-per-view match.
It's possible. It's hard to predict, man. I mean, I've been really thinking that Toxic Attraction as a whole were going to go up for the last, 3 or 4 months. And that doesn't seem to be happening as of yet. I thought this was potentially made for Zoe Stark to win and Mandy to go up, but I have no idea at this point.
So I seen a sign in the crowd that says Odyssey Jones. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about Odyssey Jones. And then I get a promo for this Quincy Elliott. I'm like, that's not Odyssey Jones, is it? No, that's not Odyssey Jones. Quincy Elliott says that he's the Super Diva. Okay.
Well, there you go. Like,
we'll see what happens with Quincy Elliott.
Quincy bringing back the term diva and owning.
Super Diva, by the way.
Super
Main
Diva.
event time. NXT champion Braun Breaker head-to-head with JD McDonough, and he retains his title with a pinfall victory. The end of the match was weird. JD McDonough said that he can take pain, right? He stood up with a mouthful of blood and said, come on and do it again. Was he trying to win a match, or was he just sadomasochist?
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of their way of, having Breaker win, but this guy really likes pain. I don't know. I mean, I would have liked to have seen a slower build with him to the top of NXT, or non-UK NXT. I know we've had him, in the past, and we've had him featured on various events, but I don't know. I felt like this was a little bit too quick just to bring him back and reintroduce him as JD McDonough and, have this as the outcome. So I've enjoyed the build and the segments that we've had week to week, kind of like when he pricked his finger with an ink pen and signed his name in blood. But I don't know. I feel like we could have gotten this with a little bit more of a gradual build.
So NXT UK also had somebody else traveling over the pond to come and confront Braun Breaker, and that is NXT UK champion Tyler Bate. And they do that standing in the middle of the ring, showing each other the belts. Like, mine is as big as yours. It's like a pissing contest with belts.
Yeah, I guess we're kind of potentially maybe headed kind of towards a bragging rights type of thing here.
NXT bragging rights.
I feel like the Breaker thing, it feels a little bit like the heels that were fed Hogan during the height of his runs.
Yeah.
I don't feel like we've really run across anybody outside of Cameron Grimes. You felt like Cameron Grimes might be able to take the title off of him, but it doesn't feel like we really get anybody that is that's sent Breaker's way that you feel like is a very believable opponent to take that title off of him the way he's been built.
Do you feel that they're just building up these people section to section just to feed the Breaker?
That's the impression. Now we had a long glance by Apollo Crews backstage at the title, so that's potentially the next person that can potentially be that guy to beat Breaker. But I just I don't know. I don't know how quick. I don't really know what a non-championship holding Breaker in NXT is going to look like, because this guy's had a rocket strapped to him since and at the start of NXT 2.0. I mean, you look at it, the new colors, the NXT 2.0 color scheme more or less matches Breaker's attire. This reboot in a lot of ways was built for this guy. So what does a non-champion Breaker look like at NXT? What does Breaker going to the main roster look like? I don't know. There's a lot of questions here.
That was NXT for last night, the Heatwave. We also got into a bunch of news. And Matthew, tomorrow morning, we're going to be talking about Dynamite from tonight. And then on Friday morning, it'll be Matthew Thomas and the lovely Linda Kay breaking down and getting us ready for everything coming up over the weekend. So for Linda Kay, for Matthew Thomas, on the Man They Call Meathead, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.